Here's Rachel Coker. I've already kind of introduced her, but she's got 2 products. Come on over and Rachel is a published author. She is the youngest author to be published by Zondervan, major publisher, Christian publisher. And what's the award you've been nominated for, Christian?
Christian Book of the Year.
Christian Book of the Year for the new author. That's a major nomination. When do you find out if you've won? April, soon. So let's have you talk a little bit about, book writing. We have a whole nother workshop we're doing tomorrow at 11:30 called How You or Your Child Can Be a Published Author. So we'll talk more about being an author there. But I wanted Rachel to just talk a little bit about, selling a product, being a book, and then later she's got several service-oriented business, micro-businesses she's going to talk about too. But let's talk a little bit just about what it's like to sell books as a product.
Okay, like y'all heard, I am a published author. I was 14 years old when I wrote my first book, and I was 16 when it was published with Zondervan, so I was the youngest author to ever get published with that company. But it's not always easy selling books yourself. Luckily, I work with a fantastic company, and I have a publicist who helps me set up different TV interviews or radio interviews and things like that. But when it comes down to it, I am my own best publicist when it comes to calling people, asking if I can come speak at places. Luckily, Mrs. Top here offered for me to come and speak with her, but lots of times if I'm going to a convention or somewhere like that, I have to call myself. I have to try to sell myself in order to come and be able to sell my books. And so if you have a product that's very closely related to you, like the fact that my books were written by a teenage girl, a homeschool girl, a Christian, I like to talk to people about all these different aspects of my books, and that really is the best way of selling it to people. I like to go to schools and libraries and anywhere.
The names of your books are
right, yeah. My first book was called Interrupted, Life Beyond Words. That was when I was published when I was 16. And then yes, it's a young adult fiction novel. It's about a girl who grew up in the 1940s whose mother passes away of a brain tumor, and she has to move across the country and live with an adopted mom. She's very bitter and angry at first, but as she gets older, God softens her heart and helps her to realize that she can love her friends and her family, even if they're not what she had originally expected. And then my second young adult book, Chasing Jupiter, I wrote that when I was 16, and it came out just this past December, so right after my 17th birthday. And this is a book set in 1969, in the middle of the space race, and all the different stuff that was going on in America in that time. And it's about a girl named Scarlett who has a younger brother who has autism. But nobody knew what autism was in the 1960s, so their whole families just thought of it as being very strange and very out there. You guys kind of think of like the things people call you when you're a homeschooler, They're weird, they're different, they're strange. And so she sort of has to learn how to protect her family and how to cherish her family and how to take on that responsibility at such a young age. And so when I'm selling these books, lots of times just what the books are about will help me to be able to sell them to people. I mean, if you have a family member who has autism, or if you know somebody who has autism or Asperger's or anything like that, it's a great resource to give to them, to help them to realize that they're not alone, that there are other people who go through this. And lots of times just young people who are interested in being writers or who love to read. I love talking to young people who love to read and encouraging them to pick up my books, telling them you can be a writer if you want to. I didn't realize that I could until it actually happened. But it really is a great source of encouragement to people, and that really is my best selling point when it comes to just trying to get others to buy my books.
Yeah, I thought what Rachel shared about the market, when you have a product, you have to think, who am I going to sell it to first? And she's already thinking, I can sell it to people who have been touched by autism, right? I attended an entrepreneurial conference, and a young man there had a younger brother who had, I'm not sure if it was autism or something that made language difficult for his little brother, and he designed certain kinds of cards, picture cards, as a way for his little brother to communicate with him. When he realized it worked, he thought then other people would benefit too. So think of who your audience is, think of what your product, how it's going to help people. Remember that, fill a need. That's really, really important.